Hey guys, before we start the video, just to let you know, only 10% of you are subscribed, so go down to the bottom and subscribe. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're gonna be making a inventory again. This is the third one, but this one is much more refined, it's much better. I have worked on this for a while. I haven't, that's my excuse for not posting in a few months. But anyway, okay, so pretty much, we're gonna be, this tutorial has scriptable game objects and also stacking objects, well, stackable items in your inventory in it. So it's a little bit more advanced, a little bit more complex, but it is pretty, the foundations are still the same as the other one pretty much. So let's get started and let's make a little bit of a an inventory. Let's just expand this a little bit so we have a bit more room. Let's make a canvas. We could just call this, like inventory canvas. The next thing we're gonna do is inside the canvas we're gonna create an empty and we're gonna call this inventory. Now let's check here. So it's right in the center. Let's give this, we'll make it in the center. I think center's good. We'll give it about a, 300 small. Maybe 600 by 400 tall. Yeah, that looks about right. And now let's make some panels. So the first panel we're going to be calling slot holder. Copy and paste that, and this is going to be called the hotbar slot holder. So this is where we're going to have the hotbar slots. This is where we're going to have the regular inventory slots. So let's go ahead and drag these about so we can default them to the center so then they don't move anywhere. And let's go ahead and give this a height of 300 and this a height of 200. 200? Nah, we'll go, depends on how big we want each of these each of the slots to be. What I might do is just do that and that. There we go. Cool, so now we've got a detached hotbar. I usually like it to have a bit more detached, so we can just do that. Drag these both up, just a quick job of it. Next we're gonna just remove the sprites of these, and we're gonna make them a bit darker. Bit more. There we go. I kinda like that. Cool, so now we have sort of two panels. This is where we're gonna have both of the, oh wow, okay, this is big. Didn't mean for it to be that big. Let's make it a bit smaller. The great thing about making this inside an empty game object is we could just simply scale it. It's much easier. Cool, so now we have a inventory in the center of the screen. It's pretty easy. We're gonna make a few slots now. So let's go under here and let's make a UI and we're going to make a text object, an image, sorry. And this is, we're going to call this slot. Now we're going to give it a button component. And make it slightly transparent. So maybe 150. 150 is good. Now let's drag this into our prefabs. And let's drag it into our inventory prefabs. Now, if we copy and paste this, nothing's really going to happen until we give our slot holder the grid transform. And there we go. So, if it's cell size 100, we can, you know, it's going to fill it up decently. If we give them 25 gapping, it fills it out perfectly, because there's 5 in each. So then, what do we do now? So we could probably go maybe 4. 4 looks about good, and let's do another one. How do we make this fit? We can, if we grab both hotbar and that, we can drag these out, make them a bit bigger so it can fit it. There we go, that's probably good. Now we can just copy and paste these. Yep, we want 3 rows in this one, and then let's copy 5 of them. Or is it 6? Oh, it's 6, okay. We'll grab 6 and let's paste them into there, and let's give this the grid component. Or actually, we'll give it the horizontal layout group component. Cool. Now they are in there nice and snug. They are overlapping a bit. We should probably fix that a little bit. So let's go ahead and fix this. Cell size, we'll go 90 maybe. Yeah, 90 fixes it. We'll also give it 4 on each edge as well. Width of 90. I'm changing the prefab ones for the bottom one, because this is using the horizontal layout group, not the vertical. And let's just simply drag it in. There we go. Now it's a lot more smooth. Now on the horizontal, let's give it padding on the top before. And also we need to do on the left-hand side for 4. Cool. So now we've got a pretty basic inventory. This is what you can expect. I'm gonna change the color of the slot. You don't have to. It's just I prefer it to be a bit darker. Maybe not as dark as that. Cool. So here we are, we have our inventory. If we go into our game view and just like click play, we can simply just like click on these, and they're gonna kind of go down and highlight. If you don't want that and you don't want them to do any of that, you can just set transition to none on the buttons. They're still picking up clicks. They're still actually detecting clicks, but it just has no visual. Also, if you do want them to have a sprite, you can select a sprite inside image. So you can click on this little button here and give it, let's say, background if you want it rounded. I prefer... Ooh, the circles kind of look good. I prefer none. I just kind of like it as this. But, you know, you can have anything you want in here. I'm just trying to use the basic Unity kind of UI elements for this tutorial. Okay, so when we've created this, we're going to now make items for it. So I've just made a little icon folder. Let's go ahead and create some items. So how do we create items with this? Well, we're going to be using Scriptable Objects. This is a really simple way of making a whole bunch of items. We're going to go here, and we're going to go into Scripts, Inventory, Items. We're going to create a C# script called item. So, how to use scriptable objects? Now, scriptable objects are really handy because they allow you to be able to make a whole bunch of copies of a type of object with different data. So we're actually going to go ahead and delete this public class. And if you have the Unity extensions, if you have the, which one is it? The Unity code snippets, you'll be able to make a scriptable object file. So here we go. Here we go. When we do this, it's going to create all of this. Let's delete this one because we already had that in here. Now it's going to create a asset menu item. So if we just save this and we go back into Unity, and we go into our assets and we go create, as you can see, it's right here. It's really, really simple. And if we go create item, it's going to create a new data type. This is essentially, think of this as data. We're going to just delete this one. So this is the default item name, or the default data name for the file. Now the menu name, we're going to rename this to item creator, or Unity inventory. That's probably a better one. And we're going to set it to orders to 0, so it's showing up first out of everything in the asset menu. Alright, so in the item, we can actually define a few data types. So we could go a public int, and we're going to call it ID. We could make a public int called name. We can, we could do a public sprite, and this will be icon. Now, that's pretty much all we need for now. Oh, we could also do public int max stack. Public int max stack. This is probably all we need. Now, So that was pretty simple. Now we can actually make this a into data types. So if we go here and we go assets, we'll actually make this inside another folder. We'll make a few data, a few, you know, items. We'll call this one, honestly, item 1. We'll go ID 0, we'll go name, item. Name, I said as an int, didn't I? I did. I am a moron. It is a string, not an int. Alright, we're gonna call this item 1 as the name. Max stack 99. Then we'll make item 2. Item 2. Item 2. ID of 1, because it's a different item. It goes from 0 to 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. And we'll leave the icons as like background for now, just like a really simple one. Cool, and we'll set this max stack as 1. So item 2 is stackable, item 1 is not. We could actually go stackable for this instead of for the name. And this one is stackable. Cool. So how do we use these into an inventory? Cool. So inside of our scripts folder, we're going to create the inventory script now. Let's go here and go C# script, and we're going to go inventory manager. Easy peasy. Let's open this up. In Visual Studio, let's just drag this menu back, delete these, and we're going to define a few things. So we're going to go a public transform called inventory panel or slot holder. Public transform inventory hotbar slot holder. And then we can do another one, public transform. Wait, transform? Actually, this is pretty much it for now. We can also make a public bool list. Or actually, bool. We can go array or list. We'll go actually list here. Public list of bools. Bool of bools. And we're gonna call this is full. Cool. We're also going to make a public transform list, so a list of transforms. Not an array, a list, and we're going to call these slots. So this is going to be all slots. And then we could make another public list of transforms. And this time this is going to be hotbar slot holder, hotbar slots. There we go. So we're making a few data types here, or a few variables, to hold certain information about our inventory. So in our start method, we can actually create another void called Initialize. I don't know if I spelled that correctly. Initialize Inventory. This is going to get all the slots. I wanted to use a big word. Here we go. So we can go. So we've got these two. So let's for loop through the. We're gonna set all the slots. We'll just comment this. Sets slots. We're gonna for loop through the inventory slot holder. So inventory slot holder. Dot child count. We're gonna loop through all the children on the inventory slot holder, and then assign that to slots. So we could go slots dot add, and here we can go inventory slot holder dot get child, and then we child of I. This is going to get the ith child, which is looping through, and then we can get this. Cool. We're gonna also for loop again. Through the hotbar slot inventory hotbar slot holder, dot child count, and we can go inventory hotbar slot holder dot get child of I. We can also add, instead of slots or add, we can also add it to our hotbar slots. That is amazing. And then what you can also add is full each time, dot add, and we're going to add a false. Copy and paste that. And now we kind of have our inventory finished. This is not finished, but this is lowercase bool, not capital. This is our data finished. So this is gonna write all the all the slots into it. Sorry, I've not had to do this much talking in a while. Cool. Let's create a game object, and we're gonna call this manager. We're going to put it on its own layer, or its own tag. We're going to call it manager. And this is just so we can use find a game object with tag to be able to know whereabouts it is. Let's drag our script onto it, and let's give it a few things. So let's give it the slot holder, and let's give it the hotbar slot holder. So now if we click play, nothing's going to happen because we haven't actually done it. Inside our start method, we're gonna go initialize inventory, and we're gonna call that method. We're just gonna reset the transform this manager as well. It's just good practice. It's not necessary, but it does help. Now, if we click play, as you can see, it's going to create 24 as fulls. Gonna create 24 slots, and it's gonna assign all of them. And it's also going to assign the hotbar slots. This is very helpful, because now we can start adding items into it. But another thing we're going to do first is we're going to go check full, or check slots. Check slots is probably a better name for a void, or a method. So we're going to for loop between all the slots, between slots.count, because we're using lists, not arrays. And we're going to check whether or not those slots are full. So let's just do a comment here. Checks if slots are full. There we go. I don't know why I just like capitalized. Okay, we're looping through the slots, and we're going to go if slots of i dot child count is more than 0, we're going to assign the is full to true. So we go is full of I is equal to true. Else, we can go is full of I is equal to false. There we go. So that's just going to check through all the slots, and check whether or not they're full with an item or not. And there we go. Okay, so we're going to create a few more voids now. We're actually going to check slots right after we initialize the inventory. So let's go ahead and check slots. Cool. We're going to create void add item. Now this one, this one's going to be the one that adds the item. So we're going to, inside here, we're going to make it that it requires a game object. Game object. And this is going to be called the item to add, well, just item. We can go int, and this is going to be an amount. There we go. Cool. So now we can for loop through the slots. Dot child count. Sorry, not dot child count. Slots dot count. And we're going to go if is full of I is equal to false, then we can add the item. Else, we can just debug at the moment. Slots are full. We're just gonna debug slots are full, or slot is full. and then we can return after we add the item. We might want to do this later, but we can also debug afterwards, after this for loop. So if it doesn't find one, all slots are full. But you can add your own stuff here. We can, you know, maybe if you want it to pop a message up when the slots are full, like all slots are full, maybe you get the picture. Okay, so how do we add this item? We can go, instantiate, and here we're going to instantiate the item. Here we're actually going to for loop through the number of items. Oh god. Let me just copy that, paste it inside a for loop. There we go. Alright, so in this for loop up here, we're actually going to go int x is equal to 0. Just prefer x rather than anything else. no reason. And this is going to be less than amount. So if it adds 1, it's going to loop through it once. If it does it twice, it's going to loop through it twice. Well, really, that should be amount up here. And that should be slots.count down here. There we go. Okay, so we're going to check, yep, which one. And this is actually going to be, is full of X, not I. And then we're going to instantiate the item in. And then we're going, where do we instantiate this, essentially? That's what we're trying to figure out. So we actually do it at slots of X. No, it's already transformed. So that's it. That's all that's going to add the item. And then we can actually check slots after this as well. I'm going to check slots before returning out of the loop. Otherwise, if you don't return, it's going to keep going through and it's going to keep trying to add it to all the slots. Okay, so that's pretty much the inventory almost done. Let's make a little cursor that we can pick up and down the slots. Let's create another void, and let's call this pick up and drop, or pick up drop inventory. Here we go. So in here we can we're gonna check which slot. So here we can make an int called current slot, and we need to make it public because it needs to be accessed by other things. Now here we have our item. We're gonna go back to Unity real quick. And we're actually going to create another script called inventory item. Now, this is what's going to be setting what the current slot is. This is what we click. So if we make a public, and now this is going to seem weird, but we make a public item, and it's going to be called item data. So this is where it's going to gather the item data from. So if you remember, we created the script at the start, which we can use to create data for the items. So here we go. Let's also make a public int, and this is going to be called ID. So what is ID? We can also make another void in here called void set item IDs, or set slot IDs. It's probably a better way to say it. Set slot IDs. Okay. So we'll actually set this right after Initialize Inventory. You could also call it within the inventory. Cool. So let's for loop. Another for loop. Yes, this whole thing is for loops. We're gonna go through slots. dot count. So we're going to loop through all the slots again. And then we can go if slots of I. Sorry, inside the inventory item, let's remove the ID one. This will be used for something different. I was getting my mind mixed up. If slots of I dot get child, sorry, no, get component. This probably won't happen in game, but let's just go slot. Some errors can happen. You know, component can be removed. We just want to future-proof it. Does not equal to null, so we're gonna make sure that the slot, it has the component of slot. There we can go. Then we can set the ID, so we could go. Just copy paste this. Slots of I dot get component slot dot ID is equal to I. This is gonna set all the IDs. Sick. Cool. Now we're gonna get this error here. That's because we don't actually have a script called slot. Let's create that. Let's not put this in this folder. Let's put it in the inventory. Cool. Here we're gonna create a public int, and this is gonna be called ID. Next, we're gonna create a public inventory manager. This is going to be called manager. And inside a start method, we're going to get this manager. So we're going to go manager is equal to GameObjects.get GameObject with tag. And this is going to be manager. That's why we created the manager tag from before. Dot get component inventory manager. And this is going to get the inventory manager component and set it to this. Next, we're going to make a void, and this is going to be called setID. And this is going to be triggered by a button, so it needs to be public. And let's go ahead and go manager dot current ID, current slot is equal to ID. And this is going to help determine what the current slot is. So let's go ahead and head back to Unity. Oh, I didn't capitalize that correctly. It's not get, it's get game object with a capital G in game object. And it's not get game object, it's find game object. I don't know why I did that. There we go. Cool, so no errors now, that's great. Inside our slot prefab, let's go ahead and create an on-click event. Or actually, let's give it the slot component first, and let's create an on-click event. Drag in slot, and we're gonna go slot.setID. Now inside the inventory manager, let's just make sure everything's okay. Yes, it is. We have the tag. Perfect. Let's click play, and let's see what happens. Cool, so now it has all of these. Let's see whether or not they actually have the IDs. They do. ID 3, ID 4, ID 5, ID 6, ID 7. That is perfect. So now if we click on one of these, let's go to our manager. And as you can see, it changes. That's perfect. That's honestly great. Let's make sure it's all, yeah, it's all in order as well. So it's not spread out or anything. That's perfect. Alright, so then the very last thing that we need before we can start adding items and doing all the fancy stuff is we need a public transform, and this is going to be called the cursor. Now, this is the thing that gets picked up with the mouse cursor. So if we go public transform cursor, and then a public vector 3, or vector 2, or I think vector 3, we'll go offset. Now this is going to be the offset of the cursor. So, how do we do this? In our update, we're going to check whether or not the inventory is active, because there's no point checking whether or not it's not. How do we check if the whole inventory is active? Let's go up here and make another public transform. public transform, or actually game object for this one. This is going to be called inventory. If inventory dot active self is not equal to true. Wait. Is equal to true. So it's, if it is active, we're gonna go cursor dot position is equal to input dot mouse position. It's equal to input dot mouse position plus the offset. And here we go. So this is gonna follow the cursor. Now, when we pick up and drop, whew, this is gonna be interesting. We can go if slots of current slot dot child count is more than 0, then we're gonna put inside cursor. Else, well, actually, yeah, else if slots, copy and paste that, is less than 1. Also here we're gonna go and cursor dot child count is less than 1, and we can also do this here as well, and it's more than 0 this time. Put inside slot. Cool. Do a little bit of topsy-turvy here. We're gonna go instantiate the slots of current slot dot get child of 0 dot game object into the cursor. So we can go cursor. And then we're going to destroy what's inside the slots. So we go destroy. Then we're going to destroy the same object that we put into the cursor. Next, we're going to flip this around. So let's go ahead and we can go instantiate the cursor dot get child of 0 dot game object into the slots position. Cool, and then we destroy what's inside the cursor. So let's go ahead and destroy cursor dot get child of 0 dot game object. Easy. There we go. So this is gonna get called whenever you click each slot, essentially. And then also inside the set ID, we're also going to go manager, and we're going to call this function. So let's go manager dot pickup drop inventory, and there we go. So if we go back to our we need to make this public. And we have a few things to add now, essentially. Let's add the whole inventory here. There we go. And let's also add the cursor. Now, what do we do for the cursor? Let's go ahead and create that. Let's go UI image. Let's create this in 90, or maybe we'll go 90 by 90, same as the other ones. Slightly transparent, dark. And we'll call this cursor. We'll drag it into the manager, and let's give it an offset of 95 by 95. And let's see if this works. There we go. As you can see, it is following our mouse. Sorry, a bit too far away though. We got 90 by 90. And decrease this as well. We'll go 45, half and half. We'll actually go 47. 47 sounds about good because then it's just off. There we go, and now we can click and it's following our mouse cursor. That is amazing. Okay, so how do we now add this and make functionality? First of all, if you could see, there's actually nothing in the cursor at the moment, but it is still showing. We do not want this. That is definitely, we definitely don't want this. So if we go here, we can call whether or not if the cursor has anything in it. If cursor.childCount is more than 0, then we'll set cursor.setActive to true, else we'll set it to false. There we go. That's a bit better. Now let's click play. And as you can see, it's invisible because there's nothing in it. Okay, let's now add some items. It's about time. Yeah, I'll put chapters on the video so you guys can see it. You can go straight to this part if you already have an inventory down. Cool. Let's go ahead and create some items. Let's go folder here, and we'll go item data. And then we'll go actual items, or items. Cool, item data goes in here. So let's create a base item. So inside our cursor, let's just go UI image, and let's create it 40, go 80. 80 by 80. Let's drag that into items. And let's go ahead and rename this to item, or stackable item, first of all. Cool. Let's go add the inventory item to it. Item data, we can go stackable item. Sorry, stackable item. And now it has all the data on it. Boom. Easy. Cool, and now let's add some of these. So let's go ahead and into the inventory. Let's add some of these into the slots. Boom. Boom. Boom, and boom. So you can actually color this however you want. Let's just go red for this one. Red means stackable, I guess. It doesn't, but let's go with that. Now let's click play, and let's try pick some of these up. So if we go ahead and pick it up, it's going to put it in here, and we can actually rearrange these. And as you can see, if we try put it down there, it's not going to. And if we actually have a look inside here, it's just not going to try even put it in there. And if we put it in here, it's going to do that. Now, every time we do this, we actually need to check whether or not it's full. Otherwise, it's going to not align correctly. So let's go ahead and let's, inside here, we're going to check slots. At the end of the method, we're just going to check all the slots. So now if we go ahead and click play, as you can see, it's they're changing at real time now, so we can rearrange them, we can do all this. Very, very cool. Cool, so let's go ahead and create another item. I'm just going to copy and paste this in, and let's call this it's something different. Unstackable item. Boom. Easy, unstackable item. And let's create this one, and let's make this green. And this item data is going to be unstackable. So if we put these in some slots now. Okay, let's set up the stackable item. Let's just make sure this is all working. It should be. Yep. intertwining. Can't put them in any of them, as you can see. But it's as easy as that. We've got a basic inventory working. Drag and drop. We're gonna add another else. Else if slots of it is full and that's full. Okay, yeah, this is how we do it. So if that's full and that's full, then we can check if slots. This is gonna be a long line here. Slots of current slot dot child dot get child dot get component inventory item dot item data dot ID. We're gonna be doing about IDs by ID. Sorry, that's all wrong in there. Okay, now a dot. Dot get child is equal to that of the one in the cursor. Cursor dot get child of 0 dot get component. We're gonna go here and we're gonna get all this. Boom, done. So if that's all true, then we need to add the amount. So let's go ahead and go item. Sorry, inventory item, and let's make another public int. What amount? Let's default that to 1. Then we can go another if, and we're gonna do all of this again. But instead of this, we're gonna go item data dot. Sorry. So we're adding the ones from the cursor. Yep. So we can go dot amount is less than or equal. Sorry, less than or equal to item data dot. So not item data, we'll go item data dot max stack minus that. Okay, that should be there, I think. Might have to fix that, but you know, I think it's all good. Then instead we can go dot amount. Plus equals to cursor dot amount. There we go. I think that's good. That looks about right. Okay. It's really important just to check all these, and then we destroy the cursor. Okay, let's go back to the Unity. I sure got an error. If not, oh my god, I don't have an error. That is crazy. That is crazy. Okay. Okay, so we've got the data and the data. Yep. Let's make sure the unstackable. Yeah, they look about right. Let's go ahead and try this out. Stackable's red. Okay. Okay. We got game object. However, it made it that far, that's very good. Let's go ahead and just do that. By the way, add the .game object to the end. Boom, boom. Yeah, we're adding. It's adding onto it. Stackable item now has 3 in it. And obviously these ones don't stack because they can't. Add as many as we want to this. Now let's quickly have a little bit of a pause here. And we're gonna check whether or not the max stack. Yep, so let's set the max stack to 2. And let's see if it caps off there. So right now we have 1 in each. We're gonna go 2. And as you can see, it doesn't add it. But this one here is carrying 2. This is actually the end of the video. But, if you want to go just one step further, what we can actually do is add a little number which determines, how much is in it. So here we go, let's go using Unity Engine.ui here. And let's go ahead. And on each item, each item, we're gonna have a number. Unity Engine.ui. Great. Let's go here and make a public text object. And we're gonna call amount text. Now, inside the update method, really inefficient way of doing it, by the way. You can call it whenever you change or add it, up to you. This is just a really simple way. Amount text.text is equal to amount.toString. And that should be it. Now, how do we go about doing this? Sorry, I don't know why I did int. Wait, sorry. What am I doing? Amount.text is equal to amount.to... Oh my god, I'm an idiot. Amount text. Amount text.text. My brain's fried from 55 minutes of talking and coding. Usually I'd like it, but not now. Okay, so inside our items, let's go ahead and add a text. So let's go ahead and add text. Text box, let's go 30 by 30. And let's just set this as 0. Let's middle it, and let's set it to a bright color. And let's increase the font size. Let's also put this in the bottom right of it. Let's copy this. And let's bring it over to the Unstackable. So let's paste it. There we go. So now in here, as you can see, it has all the numbers. Looking very snazzy. And when we go into it, object reference not set to an instance of an object. I forgot to add it. So inside an inventory object, let's just drag in the text. Drag in our text. As simple as that. So now if we go into play mode, these all have 1. If we stack these, it's going to add more. That's max because it's at 2. Can't add any more to this, it's 1 each. And just another simple thing, I think in games like Rust, they actually don't even show it if it's less than 1, so we can go if amount is less than or equal to 1. We're just gonna hide the amount text. Amount text dot game object dot set active false. Oh, else we're gonna set it to true. This concept for a inventory can actually be applied to anything. This is a really simple and basic one and can be completely expanded upon. This, honestly, I was expecting more coding. This is very short. I think this is actually the shortest one I've ever done. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.